Hey, what's up? My name is TJ, and in this video we're doing the results for Raw Edit Challenge number 8. Hope you enjoy. Okay, let me get my excuses out of the way real quick. I've been overseas, I've been in Europe for a couple of months, and I just didn't get it done. I didn't get this out in time before that. But anyway, here it is finally. I'm going to get this get through it as quick as I can because I want to get on to the next Raw Edit Challenge. This is yesterday's news, but thank you so much to everyone who submitted. This was the largest one by far. We had 63 entries, and I'm so appreciative for all of those. I will list off the names of everyone that I have here who entered, but I'm only going to go through the first 12 entries, so let's get into it right now. The first one here is Andrew Bromley from Melbourne. Andy, this is definitely the sort of style that I've come to expect from you. It's very consistent. You're very consistent with your work, and I appreciate that. One thing I'll say is your whites look a little bit crunched, and so do your blacks too, actually. Which I don't mind. The blacks kind of blend in with the rest of everything, but that's okay. That's a style preference, and that's a very sort of like trendy thing to do right now. Yeah, pretty good job. Colors are nice, muted tones, crunched whites, crunched blacks, but like I said, very consistent with your usual style, and I think you did a pretty good job. Next one is Alex Jay Mohr. Alex is from Swansea in the UK. Alex, you were super quick to get this edited. I think you might have even been the first one. It was within half an hour of putting up the video, so absolutely bonus points to you, my friend. Thank you for your dedication. This is a really cool one. One thing I'll say is there is a lot of noise in the photo. I don't know if that's grain that's been added deliberately, or I can't even remember what the original looked like, what the file looked like, but it should be pretty clean because it was in daytime. I don't know if this kind of noise works super well with the photo because it's digital noise. It doesn't look as kind of natural as like a film grain. But apart from that, I think this is an excellent edit. The skin tones are all fairly natural. There's a slight greeny blue tinge, which is sort of how I did it as well. I didn't actually edit this photo, but the other ones from the shoot I did in a similar way, but kept some nice warmth in the skin, which was really cool. Nice bright red tones in the jacket there, and I think that's a really good job. You've even cleaned up some of the stuff around the photo which was distracting, which is bonus points, and that's a really good job. Next one is Ashley Maiden from Derby in the UK. Always outside the box, Ashley. I appreciate it that you like to give me something that no one else is giving, which is, in this case, you've done a square crop. I think it was the only square crop that I had out of all the entries. Again, it's a little bit of a sort of dirty look, I guess. It's more natural than just about any other edit, I think, in terms of the colors, how they would be to real life. Not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just your style, I've noticed. It's got a nice dark vignette around the outside, very bright in the middle where the light is, and yeah, pretty good. It doesn't look like the whites have clipped too much. You've still pretty much got all the detail there, and I think that's a pretty good job thinking outside the box. Thank you so much, Ashley, for the submission. Next one is Bree Wallis from Melbourne. Whoops, where are we up to? That one. Again, there is some grain added to this. I actually really like grain. I've been using it a lot, but I feel like in a photo like this, it's quite dirty and it has a lot of texture already, like the concretes and the walls in the background with the, scuff marks on them and all that stuff. I feel like this doesn't lend itself as much to grain, it's tough to edit without because I know most of us just put grain in our presets now, but apart from that, it's also pretty good. The white point might be a little bit high for me, like I've said about... No, I haven't said that about. One of them coming up is going to be similar. The white point looks a little bit clipped for me, but overall pretty good. Fairly natural colours, like I said about Ashley's. Nothing too exaggerated and nothing too unrealistic. Pretty good, nice whack of contrast. And yep, great job, Bree. Next one is Kyun Marengo. Kyun has sort of gone the opposite. He's taken the white point back a little bit. Let me just see if my screen will brighten anymore. And sort of crunched the tones in general. I actually really like that cropped with this edit. Very, very natural skin tones. A little bit on the warm side, which I always like. Very dark in the blacks, at least to my eye. I don't know if I'm on a bad angle, but it looks very dark in the blacks, which is not so much my style, but lots of contrast, lots of warmth, and lots of detail, and you've still kept it fairly clean, which I really like, Ian. Good job. Next one is Jeremy X Lewis Photography from Bribie Island in Australia. Jeremy, it's nice to have you on a raw edit challenge because I think you've missed out on the last few or you've been too busy. But nice to see a nice bright edit. This is not your usual thing, and I think you've actually done a really good job. I think I mentioned earlier I had a lot of blues in my version as well. So you've kept that sort of theme. You've kept that sort of split tone theme. This sort of reminds me of, it could be... The theme reminds me of like a prison, to be honest. I guess with what Sabian has here with the bolt cutters and everything, but just like sort of like the blue, bland, concrete theme, I think works with this image. And where I often like to put warmth, I think the cold tones really work in this case. Good job, Jeremy. Next one is Lois Adams from... Where's Lois Adams from? From Sunderland, UK. I'm not sure if I've seen your photos in the challenge before, Lewis, but I really appreciate the submission. Thank you so much. This is sort of, how would you describe this? It's split toned with muted colors. So you've got some sort of like yellowy orangey tones in the highlight and some blues in the lowlights. I really like the way the orange stripes around them have turned out. That's really cool. Skin tones are a little bit washed out for my taste, but it's like a couple of the other guys, it's going for that sort of grungy, dirty, desaturated look, and I definitely think it works. Where are we? I definitely think it works with the photo. So yeah, the theme definitely suits, and I really appreciate that it's something different to all the other ones we've had so far. This one is Michael Hancock from North Carolina. Michael, what can I say about yours? There we go, that's where it's meant to be viewed. Nice and bright. It's much brighter than the other ones, and there's mostly some detail in the blacks. From looking at all these edits, I can probably say that the reason there's not much detail in the blacks is because I didn't shoot it with much detail, with much light on the bottom half of the frame. But anyway, nice edit, nice and bright. Like I've said about some of the others, the tones are fairly natural to what the human eye would see. Nothing exaggerated, but instead just a nice, clean, bright edit, and I really like it. Thanks for the submission, Michael. Okay, the next one we have here is Raphael Deniz. I'm so sorry if I said that name or if I say anyone's name wrong. I'm so sorry, but I'm doing my best. This is Raphael from Brazil. I actually, first look, I thought it was a black and white, but there's still some red tones there. But very desaturated. Sabian does look in black and white. I'm not sure about this thing. I kind of like it to be one or the other. I like it to be black or white, or I like it to be color. This is almost, it's like borderline selective color, isn't it? Because there's some red tones and some yellow tones left. But originality, I'll definitely give you that. And I definitely think the sort of the dark vibes of this photo suit the band really well. They don't like to show their faces, or they sort of have these costumes and this sort of act about them if ever you see them play. And the vibes of this photo definitely suit the band well. And for originality, you can definitely have the point for that, because I have, out of the 63 entries, no one else sent me a photo like this. So really great job, Raphael, and thank you so much for the submission. Louie Marks. My man, Louie, I'm getting better. I hope at your name. I really hope I'm getting better by now. Very contrasty and very bright at the same time. What can I say? Very, very dirty, grungy textures. I actually like that you haven't added any grain. In fact, you may have even reduced some noise or otherwise just sharpened some of the sort of edges of the photo. Still detail on the whites. They're not clipped. Nice and bright, but also dirty and dark where it needs to be. And some, I keep doing that. Some detail in the blacks as well, which is really nice. Yeah, good, clean, nice, moody, grungy. I don't know if you can use clean and grungy in the same sentence, but that's how I would describe it the best. The skin tones are very clean and sharp, and the rest of the photo is very contrasty and dirty. What have we got next? This one is Chris Vernon from Belhaven, who lives in Melbourne. Chris, I don't even know what you edited this on because I didn't know that you had Lightroom. So maybe it's like a phone edit or maybe it's a MS Paint edit. I'm not too sure, but you actually did a very good job. Chris is one of those people who's naturally very gifted at a lot of things. And I believe Chris did this in one of his editing breaks because he is a audio engineer, producer. The whites are a bit clipped for my liking, Chris, to use some audio terminology. They're a bit hot, I think, because we're losing a little bit of the detail. It's actually not too bad when you zoom in, but looking at it from here, the whites look just a bit bright for my liking. I like a little bit more detail in the face, but I will say that you have got nice detail in the blacks. In fact, they're brought up quite a lot. They're crunched a bit to give it that kind of washed out look, but you've done a pretty good job. One thing is interesting is I'm not sure how you've cropped it. It's an interesting aspect ratio, and you've left in I think that might just be the umbrella that I used to light it. So I think this might be a crop preset, but you know what, for someone who's not a photographer and definitely not an editor, I think that's a very, very solid job. Nice and clean, bright. The only thing I would really change is the clipping of the whites. Bring the facial tones down a little bit, and I would have cropped this a little bit differently as well. Last one is Jurian Kuipers from, I know this, from Belgium, that's right. We actually did have another square crop, I didn't realize. But Jurian, this is very nice, clean edit. I think you might have done some noise reduction as well. We've got, again, that split-toned look, which was similar, like I've said already several times, similar to kind of what I did and put some blues in, but still keeping the skin tones nice and warm. And I definitely think the blues match the sort of like grey and dark vibes of the band. Yeah, that's a pretty good job. Some nice bright colours in there too. Flattering, soft skin, but the photo is still sharp where it needs to be. And I think that's a really good way to end the video. Thank you so much for the submission, Jurian. I'm feeling more motivated than ever right now, and I can't wait to get the next Raw Edit Challenge up and running. If you have a submission for the next Raw Edit Challenge, I would love it if you could leave me like a suggestion below, or you can join the Facebook group, which is up on the screen now. Submit a photo there, and if it's a good one, I'll put it in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. So I totally forgot before, and in my excitement I finished the video, but this is the list of names that we had. Hopefully you can see yours on there, and this side as well. And these are the countries, or some of the countries that the submissions were from, which is really, really cool. So thank you guys all so much.